Hello, I'm Kim Beaton, and thank you for returning to the second part of making a half-life size human figure. Now, if you missed the first half, you might want to go back and see that, because we discussed how to build an armature and build up this beautiful form to a point that it can be finished virtually today. So I'm going to unwrap this figure and show you what we're on about. And now we're going to give it a good dose. Pal Tiya Premium, since it is cement-based, the more water we give it, the stronger it is. So this has been kept wet. Today, we're going to sculpt select areas. I'm going to start from this hip and go all the way down to the foot. Then I'm going to do that leg, and then I'm going to do the chest. Pal Tiya Premium only has a 2-hour work time, so I want to start and completely finish the region that I'm working on. And what you want to do is get it coated as quickly as you possibly can. This is now coated. I have now used up most of my available clay. And then you do this. And very rapidly, we have a gorgeous female figure. You can continue just to use the kidney and she will finish up beautifully. But I'm going to use some fabric. Now I'm spraying this burlap because I need to have just a tiny amount of water. Always trying to limit the amount of water you put on the sculpture because you don't want to get sloppy. You want that surface to be firm and accepting of texture. Then I'm going to grab a fork and I'm going to just put almost like a little gentle cross-hatching textures on it. It'll catch the light in a fascinating way, like subtle ripples on water. As you can see, we have already done the back, the arms, and the other leg. The reason for that is probably be pretty boring seeing that many times. That would make this film a little too long. We're going to show you the parts that are most important. I can feel that I've got that about 2 mil or 1/8 of an inch thick everywhere. I've blended the edges all the way around here. Now I'm going to do a little bit of popping, which means let's do the additional details. These are the subtle surface details. Now I'm going to slowly work in the muscle groups. Now this is upside down, and what we don't want is the weight of these breasts pulling the clay out of that scratch coat. So we have to be careful not to manipulate it too much. We're ready to put on the face. Now what that means, it's the most important part of the sculpture, and we have to make sure that this is bilaterally symmetrical. So we're going to put a layer on, and then we're going to make sure that those eyes are square and straight with each other. And so I'm rocking this form around, going, okay, we got the bone right there, called the zygomatic arch. We've got the cheekbones. She's nice, because once it is symmetrical, it is a very short distance between that and finish. She is smooth and reasonably symmetrical, so let us get some eyes on her. These fibers are what give it that extraordinary strength. And the fact that those fibers exist everywhere makes sure that nothing comes apart. Okay, we're going to have to leave the eyes a little bit longer. I need them to get firmed up enough because they're shifting so much. Then we'll head on to doing the hands. we're going to burn the surface of this sculpture. Last night, before we finished off, we gently rubbed the surface to sand it and give a nice finish, but that's brought some of the fibers to the surface, and I'm just going to burn them off. I am going to first put on a thin uniform coat everywhere, and then we'll dress her hair out. As always, make sure that you get that driven into your scratch coat. Just give her a subtle hairstyle, sense of movement going backwards. When doing sculpture, a repeated line is the best line. So if you see this arch, you should see the second and a third time in the piece. So as I'm shifting the outline of this, I'm seeing that it matches the line of the shoulder and the line of the hip. Even if you're doing ribbons and curls, you treat them as if they were flat ribbons of light instead of individual strands. That keeps that surface a whole lot more lively. And you'll notice I say that a lot, liveliness. You have to keep that visual sizzle on every part of the piece. We're nearly finished with this hand. I sculpted them a little thicker than their final size so I could use a riffler to take them down gently to their perfect size. And that's what we're going to do here. The hand has been established. We're going to now sculpt the fingers in, let them cure, and then in the future, I'll come through and sand them to perfection. Put it on and pinch it through like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see I'm slowly daubing up to right size because you can't move stuff around too much at this scale. We're making the fingers slightly thicker than they need to be, and then we are going to grind down to the final size. There are other methods of doing this that other artists do, but this is the style I like. It's important to have your own style because you know that every material offers up a new way of doing things. Always leave the wire sticking out of the fingertips because you want to be able to cut that off or trim that later when you have fully determined the size of those fingers. Our lady is finished. Well, mostly. Over the next couple of days, I will continue to look at her, rasp and sand, and bring her up to a really nice finish. But this is where it all comes together. She's a nice piece, she's handsome, she's beautiful, and take a lot of pride in the work you do because sculpting is a lot of fun. So join me for future episodes of Sculpting. This is going to be great.